fill the void. An unfamiliar path with a pulse of its own.
3, 2, 1.
Final Encounter Cast. Interesting conflicts, not conflicts of interest.
Typical corporate bullshit.
With your hosts, Nate, Robbie, Chris, Nika, and Callie. FinalEncounterCast.com.
Ready? Get set? Go!
What's up? Welcome to Final Encounter Cast. Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio is the channel. You can join us starting at 1 p.m. If you'd like to join us live, you can always call the show. Final Encounter Cast on Skype, 810-207-1764. We are tempting the fates by being able to take your calls today. Why
do we tempt the fates? The fates are mad at us.
I know.
They always punish us when we try to tempt them.
The building's going to burn down. Calling it now, Chris Dadamus says so.
Good. Well, that's...
Well, we'll have a new studio next week.
Will we?
No.
In a week?
I don't think so.
No, probably not.
We definitely
might be a bit.
Anyway, so thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you along. You will notice today, undoubtedly, the flickering that's going on with my lights.
We're in like a bunker or something.
It's like at this point, it's become really kind of personally frustrating for me. We've done everything that we can. We've got battery backups that are running on all of our PCs.
Made blood sacrifices.
Yeah, we've tried speaking with the demons. The demons are here to stay, apparently.
I thought they were going to be chill.
No, there is no chill for these demons.
You sure you don't have like a mad scientist somewhere in your building that's just sucking up all the power?
We tried the exorcism, and apparently that didn't work.
I was walking up the stairs. Right. You have one of these lights in your stairwell right here that like flickers like completely off and on. It is something out of a horror movie.
Yeah. It's like something out of maybe a David Lynch TV show or a David Lynch movie.
Yeah, kinda.
Oh my God! Can we wait until like the actual part of that this awful show?
But I want to talk about it now.
So it's coming up.
You want to?
Coming up.
I liked it.
Coming up on today.
You would.
Today's show. Thanks, Juxta. Appreciate it. Coming up on today's show.
Stupid now, bitch!
We're going to talk about TV and why it's so awesome. Of course, celebrating the return of Game of Thrones season 7 tonight.
I can't wait for
Dragons are coming.
But we're gonna kind of look backwards, and there's another show, actually a competing show that's on Sunday nights at 9:00.
Competing.
Twin Peaks. That
This place is boring.
That's the show that really redefined television and allowed for television today as we know it. So we're going to spend some time talking about Twin Peaks. Do I have to take your drops away?
I like this because
because you didn't even fucking watch it. Like, that's the thing, is that you didn't even try.
I watched it.
No, you didn't.
Yes.
No, you fucking didn't.
I so did.
I
have no idea.
I made
what is so great about this show where they're like all in army and they're like there's a camp and they're like fighting an army or war or something, but I don't see any fighting at all. It's all about like interaction between people and stuff, and it's like so not interesting at all.
What the literal fuck are you talking about?
What is the name of Shelley's abusive asshole or husband?
Guys, I think he's just throwing darts at a board and hoping to hit something.
I can't recall any names. I was so bored.
Dude, you didn't even fucking watch it. The only context that you have are 30-second promos that I sent you. You didn't even fucking watch the pot.
That's plenty context.
This is how little effort this motherfucker puts into the show, and he wonders why we don't put him on checkpoint, right? Like, all I asked, I didn't even ask anyone to invest any time into the series beyond the hour that is the pilot episode.
Oh my God, it's an hour
and a half.
Hour and a half. Yeah, that's right.
So glad I watched something else.
And he just didn't even fucking bother. What did you watch instead?
I was watching MASH. Thank you very much.
What?
Why were you? First of all, why were you watching MASH?
It seemed basically equivalent.
No, the only thing MASH was good for as a kid is knowing when it was time to go to bed.
Why? Yeah, I don't understand how you're getting the two mixed up, or where you would even be watching MASH.
Did you go to my grandmother's house? Because that's the only place in the country that show still shows.
I was watching it on Nick at Night.
They still have Nick at Night?
And they're showing MASH?
What else would they show?
Something that doesn't suck.
I Love Lucy? Isn't that what they used to show?
Also, I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
That's a great one with that hot chick who's a genie and she has to spell.
See, that really was how you used to know when it was time for bed. Like when those shows started coming on, you're like, oh, I guess it must be bedtime.
Time to get into bed because you're going to fat that.
Anyway.
Genie?
Stop it.
Do you not?
Anyway, thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you along. Yeah, we're going to be talking about television today. Also, because I'm going to be going out to San Diego Comic-Con next weekend. So Joe and Robbie, they're going to be gone for Pokemon Go Fest.
Go Valor!
I'm going to be gone for San Diego Comic-Con, which means that we're going to give Final Encounter Cast a break for a week.
Failure, freaks.
Just in case you guys were wondering where next week's episode is. But the thing is that...
we couldn't responsibly leave Chris in charge of the news.
That's right.
We couldn't do it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to run some best of clips in its place. I'm putting Chris in charge of that to see if he can at least
also a bad decision, but
correctly.
We're desperate.
Yeah. So tune in next week at 1:00. You'll catch some of the best of Final Encounter Cast, and then I guess Juxta and Nika are going to be hosting that week's episode of Limit Break Radio just by themselves.
The Nika position episode of LBR.
Yep. You don't say it like that. That makes it sound weird.
You know, we expect a lot of fanfics to be read, guys.
No, hey, no, we're not reading fanfics next week. We're reading those the following week when he's gone.
It's not fun if everyone's not here, though.
I think I might be gone that episode too. Then.
Because here's the thing: the weekend after that, I'm also going to be gone, and I'm going to be in Seattle for Twin Peaks Fest.
Wow, just dialing it in, aren't we, Nero?
Yeah.
Nate.
So that's really exciting. Yes, Twin Peaks Fest.
What happens at Twin Peaks Fest?
It is.
I can only assume everyone talks in weird tongues.
Yeah, we all talk backwards.
Someone dies.
I don't know. This is my first year. This is my first year going out to Twin Peaks Fest.
This is not its first year.
No, it's definitely not its first year. But the thing is that this is the first year that it will be going with an active season running because it took a 25-year break. So that's pretty cool.
Is David Lynch going to be there?
This seems like actively more geeky than any anime convention.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe
because it did. I think predate the
anime convention or the modern anime convention.
Yeah, like sort of I'm not sure how long.
I'm going to a Doctor Who convention. That's the level you're stooping to.
I mean,
he's getting close.
I think Doctor Who's is an appropriate comparison.
Yeah,
because they're both shitty.
That's not necessarily
if we
unfair.
Went to Game of Thrones con.
So
that would be a comparison.
But by the way, if anyone's curious, Charlotte Stewart, Kimmy Robertson, Sherilyn Fenn, Krista Bell, James Marshall, Al Strobel, Andrea Hayes, James Grixani, Jan Darcy, Wendy Robbie, Jeremy Lindholm, and Lisa. I don't know her last name.
A lot of these names sound like they might be from the new show.
Some of them are from the new run, but James from the original run, Audrey from the original run, Bobby's mom from the original run, Mrs. Briggs is going to be there.
Bobby's dad on that show,
yes.
the military guy.
Yeah.
Eugene on The Walking Dead, I swear, based his character off that guy.
Okay.
It's the same fucking character.
For a second there, I thought he was going to say Eugene from The Walking Dead is that guy, and I'm like,
no.
Now I might.
But Al Strobel, the one-armed man, he's going to be out there too. He's got, I love his voice. He's got a great voice. But anyway, yeah. So there's that. That's going to be what I'm doing the weekend of July 28th. So these guys are going to be in charge that weekend. But yeah, I just I wanted to be able to share that. I also kind of wanted to be able to share my excitement since I'm going to be out for 2 weeks. But no adjustment to checkpoint. We're still going to be. I'm literally flying back in from San Diego to do checkpoint, and then I'm flying back out to Seattle.
Isn't it nice that with all this flying that you don't have to lug equipment around?
Yes, this is like just that fact alone, I think, makes me feel like this is a little bit more of a vacation than some of the other stuff that we've been doing.
No matter how nervous you get or if anything's going wrong, just be like, at least I ain't got equipment with me.
At least I don't have to check 50 pounds worth of fucking equipment.
That was really the worst, wasn't it?
It was. Honestly, like lugging that equipment around and having to figure out how to do like a full-on presentation from the road is pretty difficult because, I'm really particular about the way things sound. And that's why I think, our FanFest coverage, for Limit Break Radio really stands out. Our Checkpoint coverage of E3 2017 really stands out. And that's because I'm really particular. I run this shit sort of like a radio
like a dictator.
Remote. Well, a radio remote. That's what I was
yeah, sure.
Anyway,
I like dictator.
That sounds right.
Tyrant.
Dictator. Anyway.
Small dictator.
Oh.
Is this future? Or is this past?
Nice. Robbie Bobby, love it. We're going to talk about TV. But first, before we get there, let's check out what's going on in the news.
I'm here to do the news tonight.
And that's the way the news goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this program to bring you important news.
Here's a story that's out of this world.
Well, Pokemon Go Summer Festival is quickly approaching, and we now have some of the details on what to expect. The event will be broken into segments, and players at Grant Park will be depending on players around the world to help unlock different parts of the event. To start, players at Grant Park will be trying to catch different types of Pokemon to unlock various bonuses worldwide. Players then around the world will then have to try to catch large numbers of Pokemon to extend the duration of those bonuses and eventually unlock the mystery event in the park. If the players in the park are then able to beat that mystery event, it will unlock a major event worldwide. So we're kind of going to be playing off each other that weekend.
Dependent on each
Is
other.
that possible? Legendaries, maybe?
I would think so.
That's what I think.
It's just a super Pidgey with a hat.
I mean, something is super Pidgey.
Oh, please let it be the fattest Pidgey with the World War II helmet on.
Stop.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I saw that from MASH.
I mean, it's got to be a legendary. It's got to be a legendary.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
kind of cool that it requires it starts in the park and then it requires us to catch stuff not in the park to unlock something in the park to then unlock something out of the park. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Man, I don't want to depend on these scrubs going to Pokemon Go Fest to unlock a worldwide event.
Okay, except no, that's the other way around. You rely on us to give you bonuses. We rely on you to unlock the worldwide event.
Yeah, but then we rely on you assholes to actually beat the event.
Yeah, so you know what?
I can't trust you for that.
There's skin on both sides of the game.
Hang on, no.
Come back and tear into you guys.
I actually, no. I got to disagree with Chris really a lot here because there's going to be so many people out at Grand Park and all of them are going to be so concentrated on whatever that one event is. There's no way that they don't take it down.
I'm pretty sure these people got more dollars than cents over there because they're buying to a Pokemon Go Fest.
You're fucking retarded. If you're gonna,
you know what? Just for that, we're gonna work on getting the hatch distance buff. That's the one we're going after now.
No grass type.
Fuck Stardust
You're just fucking
buff.
yourselves.
God damn.
Buddy distance type.
That was the worst pun. Anyway, I think that this is really cool how there's two elements of there's,
It's a way to include those of us who can't go.
But actually with substance. It's not just like a lame, oh, don't worry, you guys are getting stuff too.
Right.
You actually affect the event itself.
I think that is pretty cool. And I mean, it does really give a whole lot of incentive to, be really plugged in that day. Again, I'll be out at San Diego Comic-Con.
You think there might be a couple Pokemon out there to
I
catch?
think there might be.
Yeah.
I think there might be.
One or two.
I mean, because there wasn't there some big announcements for Pokemon Go last year around San Diego Comic-Con? Or at least there were some
2 weeks before it. So
yeah, it was something like that.
Those announcements probably were trying to fix it.
Maybe.
We're sorry you can't log in still.
Yeah. Oh, well, God, that's right. I forgot about that.
Everyone forgets what that first month of the game was really like.
Yeah, it was.
It's because they weren't playing during it.
It was pretty frustrating. So, yeah, I don't know. I do think that this event is going to be really interesting. I'm going to, be catching as much as I can with my Pokemon Go Plus to try to help you guys.
Robbie, do you have
what it's worth.
Are you stocked up on supplies for this? Because like,
I have over 330 Ultra Balls.
that's a lot of Ultra Balls.
That's a lot of Ultra Balls.
How's your Pokeball stash? That's the more important one.
Well, because I'm constantly using it, I only have like 50 right now. But you know what? Unfortunately, when it comes to PokeFest, all right. Look, we're going to have increased encounter rate just because of the fest alone. We might get another increased encounter rate because of the buff, depending if we catch enough of whatever type it is. And everything's going to be lured up. And I'll probably have incense on. I am not above spending money at PokeFest.
Yeah, I probably would too.
So if I have to buy Pokeballs, I'll buy Pokeballs.
So it's a festival to buy money?
Well, think about it. Like, it's at PokeFest. You don't think there's going to be some cool like deals in the shop? You don't think everything's going to be on sale? Right? Like they would have.
No, probably not.
They already got you captive. They got all
but
your.
Worldwide, there's an event going on. You don't think they'll have cheaper Pokeballs? I'm thinking hopefully here. Come on.
Maybe for the 24 hours. Maybe.
Please.
So I think the question is less, is there going to be a legendary for this big event? And the better question is, what legendary is it going to be?
Yeah, I mean, Mewtwo seems likely, but I really want it to be whichever gym this dark egg pops up at, whichever gym controls it when it hatches. That's the legendary bird that spawns out of it.
No, I think they're going to take you both for a pass. I think they're going straight to Oho.
We're going to get a Gen 2 legendary?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Why do you think that?
Because no one will expect it, and this will be like the rebirth
I'd rather
of
get
Pokemon
Lugia
Go.
Yeah, maybe like Lugia, and then they're going to do that stupid Team Harmony bullshit.
That really is stupid.
That is the dumbest shit.
I'll put my money on Mewtwo.
Yeah, I'm going to say Mewtwo. It was in the trailer. That's I think the biggest.
And they've stayed pretty. At least I feel like they've tried to stay pretty true to a lot of the stuff that they show in the trailer.
Yeah,
so.
Except for trading.
Well, yeah.
But when we eventually get it.
And short of this being in Times Square, they could pretty much recreate that trailer.
Yeah, that's actually I was just thinking about that. I mean, I know that it's in Grant Park, and I know that that's a big public space.
It's all going to be fenced in, though. The actual event,
they reserved the whole park.
Oh yeah,
right?
festivals have happened in Grant Park. I went to a Lollapalooza down there one year. It can definitely hold a lot of people, but you've got the number of people that bought tickets for the event, plus anyone who lives nearby is definitely going to want to try to be there to see if they can at least engage the thing.
How many people will we see up against the fence just trying to like reach in as far as they can get?
I think he zoned it out so they know like this is going to be a foot from actually being able to reach it.
Well, no, I was going to say like this is actually going. I think like being there at the actual thing is going to be something like they showed off in that trailer, which I think is both really impressive and kind of cool that they're trying to make good on the experience that
I'm also excited this is happening in America out of any other country they could have picked too.
By the way, Robbie, as media, we get to check in 2 hours early.
I know.
Yeah.
Woo. I'm only like 2 blocks from the park, so
we
I'm not
are
worried about like driving or anything like that either.
We are working on an interview situation.
We are in contact with PR.
Yeah. So this is we're gonna we might have something. I don't know if we're gonna have something for Final Encountercast. If we get something, it'll probably be for Checkpoint, but we'll share it here too.
Definitely.
All right.
So speaking of Pokemon, the new movie coming out looks to be retconning some of the lore. It's a retelling of the Indigo League saga, aka the first few seasons of the show, but sans Brock and Misty.
Not
Fuck
my
that.
Pokemon.
Fuck that.
Good.
I hate them.
Get them out of here.
What?
Misty's a little tramp with those short shorts.
Okay, but are
those come hither eyes?
Isn't she like 10?
She's 12.
12?
I was talking about Brock.
She's older.
Isn't he like 14?
He's got the come hither eyes. He does that all the time in the show.
I don't think he has the come hither eyes.
No,
Well,
they're way worse.
Yeah, no,
This
they're
is the
definitely super racist Asian eyes.
His are go hither eyes.
Oh, Brock's, you mean? Yeah, Brock's are very racist.
Okay, Robbie mentioned new characters. This is the thing. At first, they're like, oh, it's not going to have Brock or Misty. Okay, that's sad, but maybe it'll be more like the original comic or like the games this way.
it's not.
And then they're like, no, guess what? We're going to introduce 2 new characters that nobody gives a fuck about.
By the way, one of them's got a Lucario, and the other one's got...
Right, because that's totally Indigo League. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's all Gen 2 and Gen
One is
3
a Piplup,
shit.
right?
Piplup, yeah, is the other one.
Hey, I just think that this is more evidence that the next set of remake games that we're going to get is going to be set in Kanto.
Oh,
I mean, you had
right about that.
You had Lily. You had Lily from Sun and Moon. I'm sure that
your own character was supposed to be from Kanto too.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I really do think that between all of those different things that they're really setting us to go back to
I
Kanto.
thought so too. Like, did you realize how often your mom was like, "Oh," and like the end of the game when Lily goes, and like, "Oh yeah, Kanto's not that far. You can go visit." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then you don't actually get to.
Yeah, no, I think we're going back to Kanto. I think we're going to have like the difference is going to be that we're going to have the full Pokédex, and they're going to set out new things. It's basically going to be the Indigo League in a different time period.
Interesting.
That's what I think.
Maybe it's not an actual. Do you think maybe this movie is not actually a retelling? That it's still a future thing.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
it has Ash in it.
Well, it's got Ash in it because it's got to have Ash in it.
But still, he's actually already traveled the world and has come back and seen the Indigo League has changed.
I don't know that. I wouldn't go that far. I just think that whatever characters they're introducing are probably going to be
from other reasons,
thematically a little bit more tied in. Like some of the characters from the Pokemon anime have a direct tie-in to some of the games, and then some of them have sort of like this indirect tie-in. I just think that if the new people that they're shoving you with is they have a Lucario and they're not keeping it to the original 151, that this tells me that they're going to go back to Kanto, and that when they do, there's going to be a much wider range of shit that you're going to be able to catch.
I personally like that the newer characters have better Pokemon than Ash, because I think he's a piece of shit anyway.
Well, he's an awful trainer. He has Snorlax, and that's it. That's all that's good.
When the first games and the first anime came out, the other the other cities and places weren't even mentioned in the first game series, right?
No.
Like
no.
Johto and
I mean,
so this could be a retelling, just including the fact that the other regions exist now.
But if you want this, why don't you go watch the 4-part series where it's just the retelling
Origins.
of Red?
Yeah.
Origins.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, I agree. That was really good.
All right, so we've got a bit of a sad and disturbing story that I'm going to be honest, I thought was a creepypasta when I first read it, but apparently this is a real thing. So, a weird online game is causing young people to self-harm or even commit suicide. The game has teens contacted by game administrators called curators who walk them through 50 days of challenges, with suicide being the challenge on the 50th day. Already 2 people have been reported dead following playing this game.
What the?
Wait, are you sure this is not a creepypasta?
That's what I thought. This has to be, but this is being reported now on ABC, NBC,
I
and
found this on NBC.
Blue Whale.
Blue Whale
is what it's called. Yeah.
This is fucked up.
And to get there, you have to cut yourself and carve whales into your arm and creepy shit.
Okay. When it says it's a quote unquote game,
it's not.
It's not a series of challenges.
Okay, just a series of challenges then.
Yeah, it's like a
forum,
cinnamon
snort challenge.
Like basically what it is you sign up on a forum, and then someone on the forum staff or one of the forum administrators starts sending out these challenges, and the last one is to fucking kill yourself.
Off yourself.
What the fuck?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal in a way.
It's
yes?
it's definitely
That's correct.
definitely illegal.
Yes.
You are knowingly endangering people.
There's the girl that is I think on trial right now, or found guilty recently of encouraging her boyfriend to commit suicide through instant messenger
messages and
stuff. Yeah. So I mean, if they were able to figure out who was sending the instructions or the messages, I'm sure that they would absolutely prosecute this person. But I think to call it an online game is a little bit a little bit deceptive. It's not quite. It's more like an ARG that someone is taken way too fucking seriously.
Well, I think this whole idea of online challenges is definitely a thing that people know of, and I think having called it that, online challenges taken to the extreme now, or whatever.
The thing that I don't understand about this is what is the reward? What is what's
it's just to prove that you can do all the challenges.
It's just playing on people's need to once you start something, I have to finish it, I have to do this online challenge.
It's the same concept between gamer or Xbox achievements. You just got to get through all the lists, except a lot more morbid.
I mean, not
I
just
don't
anyone.
know.
Except
I feel like it's got to be offering something.
Yeah,
right?
like I feel like there's got to be something that
what entices people to sign up?
Yeah, except this like maybe ghoulish mortality, like morbid fucking. I like that's the only thing, the morbid curiosity. But the thing is like once you got the instruction, like carve a whale into your arm, like wouldn't you just go, yeah, no, I'd rather not do that.
Most people, yeah, but there are also some people out there who I think are deeply disturbed.
Well, of course there are.
I think if you don't do it, they're just not going to send you the next challenge, right?
Yeah. And there's teenagers who are like, still trying to find their place in the world. They aren't thinking like intelligently because they're teenagers going through puberty.
But dude,
and there's like the group think mentality where people post their
if
their
other people are
progress
doing it,
on
you're
the
going to be
forum.
like, oh, I'm not strong enough to do it. Yes, I am. I can do it too.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's a big group thing. It's totally a thing.
I'm sorry. I think that discounts the intelligence of kids and
well, you'd think so, but 2 people have committed suicide from this.
Proof is in the pudding, bro.
There was something kind of similar to this that was going around in Russia sometime last year, where
there was the suicide game in Japan where you had kids jumping up in front of trains and shit.
Yeah, yeah. Like there was the one from Russia specifically was telling like little girls that become like princesses or find unicorns or whatever to drink certain types of chemicals or something like that.
Jesus.
That's different. That's like a trick, though. This is literally saying kill yourself or stab yourself or carve yourself.
That's exactly like that's deceptive. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to be beautiful if you drink Clorox. Like no, of course that's not true. You know what I mean? But like this is straight up like a command to kill yourself, and it seems like there's got to be. Like, at least, like, I'm just trying to think of the psychology through it. Like, even a disturbed person, like, when presented with just the command to kill themselves, will probably at least apply some kind of thought, maybe not logic, but thought to the process. And there has to be, but there has to be, come on, though, like, that's without directly having knowledge that that's the thing that drives them is like a cult or a personality or something. I don't think you can say that.
Well, Cecil in the chat is suggesting that there were people saying they were threatened. That's disturbing.
Threatened?
Right, like if you don't
kill
do
yourself,
this,
or I'll kill you,
or your
I'll kill your family,
or people you care about. I don't know.
I know your mom works at this place through social media.
Dude, people say dumb bullshit all the fucking time.
Okay, yeah, but teenagers don't think that it's like that it's a bluff. They're gonna, like someone, because it might not be. They say, you started my game, you've got to finish. I mean, it's like all the scary shit they watch on TV. Like
real life Jigsaw.
You began this challenge, now you must finish. And they're like, oh shit, they're gonna kill my mom. I
just think you're making a couple of logical steps here that aren't.
Well, what do you think is happening?
I don't fucking know.
2 people have killed themselves. Like this is a thing.
Apparently, it's more than 2. We're also being informed.
Well, that's the thing is that there are so many different fucking articles about this between ABC News and fucking clickbait. You know what I mean? Like there is a whole breadth of because I heard about this probably first on something like Unilad or you know what I mean, like some clickbait bullshit on Facebook, and now it's starting to work its way up. But like that's the thing. So I don't think you can definitively I don't want to definitively believe a higher body count than what something like ABC News, which this is ABC News dumb shit, is reporting here on this story. So let's start there, and then I question what the motive is. Like, what is the reward that is laid out, or the punishment? Like, if there is some kind of threat, then that is a punishment that's laid out. But there's got to be some kind of motivational factor that actually makes these people do it, as opposed to just getting a message and being like, okay, boom. You know what I mean? Like that.
I mean, I'm going to assume it was first introduced to them not as the fact that it's going to even turn into self-harm or suicide. I bet the first few challenges are like really easy. Like, take a picture of this and post it on Facebook. Like, I don't think that the original ones were probably so scary. And then once they were in too deep, they became afraid and had to keep going.
I don't know. It's fucked up either way.
Dude, do you understand how many presuppositions you're making to be able to arrive at that conclusion?
But see, I'm telling you from this, though, I am too afraid to sign up for it and see for myself just to see it in case somebody threatens my family. Like, seriously, we have no idea what's going on. And I'm afraid just from listening to it.
But you're supposed to be. That's what the goal is you're supposed to be freaked out by it.
Well, mission accomplished. It's freaky.
I mean, it definitely is, but I question how much of it is actually legitimate.
Well, you can check it out and let us know.
Cecil just posted a Snopes link to it. And it's,
good.
It still says unproven. So I mean,
yeah, I mean,
there's no false or truth to this right now.
But you understand that asking the question of what the motivation is to actually take part in this, to its logical conclusion, not to its logic, but to its designed conclusion,
right.
Like it doesn't necessarily make. I don't think it makes sense. Like
right.
Just sending the command isn't enough. There's got to be something additional.
Oh, yeah, okay, look, they're targeting teenagers, right? And teenagers, I don't want to say they're not
whatever
not
you're going to
smart.
say, whatever you're going to say is starting with that presupposition that teenagers are easily influenceable and they're
impressionable.
Dumb. And they're dumb.
I don't want to say they're dumb, but they're definitely impressionable.
Impressionable does not mean that you can send them a fucking message and they do the thing. That implies someone.
Not everybody, but some people does.
That implies someone with no free will or logic or ability to process.
Yeah, look, the fact that it doesn't show us any examples of these messages, it's impossible to say what it is. Because you're right, I don't think that it's simply challenge number 50. Kill yourself, right? It's probably designed or said in ways to, I don't know, to connect with them on certain levels or take, take advantage of certain psychological or, type
that makes
things.
sense. See,
yes.
that makes sense. But if it was just a mess like challenge number 50, fucking,
Yeah, there's no way that
find a way to kill yourself.
This says at least 80 people in Russia. 80 suicides.
What says that?
The article
the Snopes link
got posted.
Okay, again, according to various random sources. Again,
right,
like shit like Unilad, you cannot fucking trust that shit.
Right.
Like that's why I'm saying, okay, ABC is reporting on 2. I believe that.
Yeah. Okay.
I will go as far as to believe that. But what I need explained to me to understand it is what is the thing? Is it a punishment? Is it a threat? Is it a reward? Like, do they think that they're? I mean, because look, people have committed suicide for crazier reasons because they think aliens are going to take them and they're going to go meet God. I understand that people do weird shit all the fucking time. There were the 2 girls that stabbed their friend like 21 times because
Slender Man thing.
Yeah, they thought that they could sacrifice her to Slender Man. Like, look, I understand that there's weird shit that happens all the time and that people don't always think rationally, but there has to be some kind of reward or punishment to the other side to be able to motivate someone.
I can't believe that there isn't any type of proof of any of this, because if it's happening to all these kids, how has no one gotten on their accounts on these forums and seen what the messages were?
Yeah, exactly. It's saying like this article is saying that like it's possible that these kids were just all drawn to the same social media groups. However, there have been hashtags with the game's name with like cutting images and stuff like that. And so it seems like it's somehow intrinsically tied, but there's no proof.
But like Slender Man, can't someone put the idea of this out there and then someone takes that idea and they carve a blue whale into their arm, take a picture of it and been like, yeah, I'm part of it. Or you know what I mean? Like there's tons of different shit. Exactly. There's tons of different shit. Like once you put that idea out there, people will find ways to perpetuate it just to fuck with other people.
It's just weird though that it does say that at least 80 people have died between November and April. Like, that is a statistic, and they're trying to figure out why, and they realize that at least 80 of them were all part of the same group online.
Yeah, and in the chat, didn't the girl survive that stabbing? Yeah, she did.
Thankfully.
She
can actually, if there's a good documentary about it, if you want to get all fucking creeped out and really want to see the depths of evil that humanity can slide into, HBO did a really good documentary about the Slender Man case. So,
should we move on to something more fun?
Yes,
a little nicer.
Maybe a little bit.
Okay, a thrift store find turned into a windfall for an Australian man this week as he sold a copy of Stadium Events, the ultra rare title that was later rebranded into World Class Track Meet. The game was still factory sealed and sold for over $42,000 on eBay.
Jesus.
I remember reading the story of the guy finding it, but he hadn't sold it at that point. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's a pretty good find in a thrift store.
I just want to send a personal shout out to whoever the prick was that put it up to $42,077. Like, you know that the guy who locked in that $42,000 bid was like, I am set. I'm not going to have to check on this bed. And then there was probably like 1 minute left, and this asshole fucking bid it up to $42,077, and I feel bad for whoever lost out on that.
Well, at least that guy still has $42,000.
It's true.
Clearly, it wasn't worth more than $42,000 to him. Otherwise, he would have bid higher. So fuck that first guy.
And perhaps some of our stranger news, although less morbid, a fan of Stardew Valley has requested the developer make some changes to how a character in the game is handled. David Jr., a guinea pig belonging to one of the girls in town, is apparently living in some less than ideal conditions, with the user spelling out all the things wrong with his cage. In a response, the game creator has said, "Well, I certainly don't want my game to cause harm to any guinea pigs." End quote.
Okay.
Kidding,
Okay.
obviously.
You've played Stardew Valley.
Yes, I have.
What the fuck?
Okay, so they're referring one of the girls in town. She has a guinea pig, and it's just like a little like
pixel guinea pig.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
You can't see it.
How can she discern so many different things about the guinea pig cage?
Well, so you can see that the cage has a wheel in it, which your guinea pig isn't supposed to have a wheel. It's bad for them.
Very dangerous.
You're not supposed to have an aquarium style cage, which
they can't breathe in it. There's not enough airflow.
Oh my god!
I know, it's ridiculous.
Why are you laughing?
This article is such proof to me that no matter what you make, someone will complain about something.
Well, you're endangering. You're endangering lives here.
Let's be real. If it was like a cat or a dog and people had like really bad living conditions for it, people would complain. There are plenty of people out there who are really passionate about guinea pigs and realize that there are some dangerous things being shown.
Especially New Guineans.
That is...
Here's what I think the creator should have done. They should have removed the cage from the house and put a tiny little grave in the backyard.
Oh my god. Literally all they have to do, because you can't tell it it's a guinea pig. The only reason you know that is because the girl
hamster.
tells you it's a guinea pig.
Yeah, just change it to hamster.
Yeah, just say hamster.
Oh, wait,
That's a lot
hamsters
less
can
work.
have wheels?
Yeah.
Yes, hamsters
they're-
have wheels.
Oh my god.
Have you seen a guinea pig before? They're
Guinea pigs are
fat
huge
little
and they have really
fuckers.
long spines. Like they wouldn't be able to run. It would hurt them.
What if it's a big enough wheel?
I don't know that it
doesn't
matters.
matter.
It's the
Yeah.
curvature
Well,
thing.
this wheel clearly isn't big enough. Okay, maybe if they had a guinea pig treadmill, it would have been fine. But
Can we move on?
I actually want to comment
Well, I mean,
on.
did he say that he was going to change anything?
No.
Or he just goes,
He
no.
just said, I don't want to, he just said, I don't want my
Good.
game to cause
Don't-
harm to any guinea pigs,
don't
but I'm not
bother.
sure that this is a problem.
Yeah, I can't believe that he responded to it at all. I want to I want to respond to a comment in chat here. Candawane saying that wait, you don't trust online news, but you trust ABC and other news. At this point in 2017, fuck yes.
And
they're
it's not necessarily
yes.
saying we believe what they're reporting, but we're saying the fact that they are reporting it means it's not just clickbait. Like,
and there's
it's
also
actually something.
Yeah, and there's also varying degrees of how much I would trust an online article. There are
Yeah.
websites I would trust over others.
Yes.
Unilad is not one of them.
No, exactly. That's exactly my point, is that if you don't have your bullshit detector finely tuned enough to be able to, say oh, well, this website's bullshit and this website's not. If you're broad stroking everything that you're consuming in, well, this is mass media, this is major media, and this is online media, that, I'm going to tell you, I guarantee you're believing way more false bullshit and clicking on way more clickbait than any of us. Because, I will believe a newsroom that has, an editor and a manager and someone who's fact-checking stories and making sure that there's, accuracy.
But then you get people like Fox News who put Pokemon names on nuclear plants or something or whatever that was that one time. So then again, not everyone's always checking.
No, and I'm not saying that everything. I'm not saying that everything that CNN does either, because the 24-hour news cycle is a completely different beast. But there is journalism that does still happen out there,
right?
And it mostly happens under major media sources. And so, listen, I'm sure you like reading fucking InfoWars, okay? But the fucking the male enhancement and fucking turning frogs gay, all that bullshit is not that doesn't pass the sniff test for me.
Right, and
I'm gonna believe the BBC over fucking Alex Jones every fucking time.
And Candonian, to your point, I don't think I would trust anything either, but if I come on the air and say, oh, the news is unverifiable and fake, it's not going to be a very good news segment. So I do have to pick and choose.
And Can saying that they don't trust any of them. Well, what good does that do you?
Exactly. Like, I mean,
and I understand like taking everything at a grain of salt and doing your own research, but when it comes down to some random ass website you've never heard of reporting something, or ABC or CNN or even Fox like reporting something, you know that they've at least like looked into it more than on one random article.
And there's
some basis to it, whether or not it's true.
The sad fucking part about that is that there's a lot of really talented writers and journalists out there whose time, effort, and talent is being completely wasted because their newsroom wants them to concentrate on clickbait.
Yep.
On PewDiePie.
But again, that doesn't happen necessarily in every newsroom, and that's not to say that every newsroom is inaccurate or full of bullshit. What you have to, again, you've got to have a very finely tuned bullshit detector and be able to figure out what passes the sniff test and what doesn't, whether it comes from a major media news source or whether it comes from an online news source. I've seen as much bullshit from Vice as I've seen from Fox News. You know what I mean? They're two opposite ends of the spectrum, but I've seen just as much bullshit from both of them. So I like this whole idea that like, oh, well, you trust major media? No, like at a glance with something like that. Yeah, a little bit. Anyway.
A new patch for Half-Life released this week, which is notable because the game is freaking 19 years old. Whilst the patch was mainly just bug fixes and crash fixes, it's just crazy to see a game this old still getting a patch or players still even reporting bugs.
I think that this is probably maybe the oldest game to receive a patch.
19 years old?
That I can think of?
StarCraft got one a while back.
Yeah, that's true.
StarCraft.
I don't know. They'd be pretty close, though. They were about in the same area.
I like what Jin's saying in the chat. I think that they're patching in shadow information about Half-Life 3. Has someone picked apart the code yet?
I'm sure someone has.
I'm sure they have to.
Logitech appears to be trying to make a splash in the console market. They've acquired Astro Gaming, a headset maker focused on the enthusiast and professional console gaming market. The $85 million purchase will close in August, and Logitech has announced no plans to shutter the brand, instead choosing to work in tandem with them.
Console market?
Well, the console headsets. Gaming headsets.
Okay. I was going to say, maybe they should get a hold of Atari and the two of them can team up.
Yeah, wouldn't that just be great?
You need to curate these word little article snippets better, because I was thinking, like, what, Logitech's going to be in the console market as well?
That's what I thought, too.
You need to add a key noun there, console headset. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Well, I mean, right after he did say they've acquired Astro Gaming, a
headset maker.
They're going to work with the headsets for like specifically for their new console. That's
it's like we're going to work with this headset creator to make consoles, because that's.
Well, I thought they were going to make the console and then use them to make their console specific.
Well, at least they would have a plan that was a little bit better than Atari's. Like if they're focusing on the fact that, hey, guess what? Now we just wear all the consoles on our heads, guys. That's our little
VR
market.
is.
Yeah. Well, you still have to plug it into the console.
That's true.
Everything is on your head. Everything is on your head.
I'm waiting for the neural console.
I want to get this huge Xbox on the back of your head.
Or you at least have it like on a backpack, right?
That heat
like a proton pack.
This is the only way to play the new Ghostbusters game.
Oh, God.
All right, guys. So Blizzard has announced they're making an esports adaptation of their World of Warcraft raids. The Mythic Dungeon Invitational will see raid groups trying to score as well as possible in Mythic Dungeons, with the highest scores being invited for a tournament with a $100,000 prize on the line.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Cool.
No,
Before we get into this, do that with Ballista way back in the day.
Before we get into this, we have to correct him once more on the words he's just used. He said that they're putting their Mythic rating.
I'm sorry, Mythic Dungeon.
It's dungeons.
Dumb shit, that's the second time you've made this.
Second time you've made that mistake. Big difference, as only five people do dungeons.
Versus 20.
You're muted, idiot.
Oh, boy.
Good. Now you know how it feels.
But first of all, Nika, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Trying to compare this to Ballista?
Get the fuck out of here.
What
No,
the
Ballista
hell?
did a thing like that where the best teams got actually flown out to an invitational.
Oh, yeah,
do you remember that?
You remember
Okay.
that $100,000 tournament that Final Fantasy 11 had?
No, even beyond that,
remember what the prize was,
Ballista was PvP. This is PvE.
Right.
Yeah.
They've turned their dungeon running
Here's the
into
thing.
a sport.
The thing about that is the biggest news that came out of that Ballista Invitational was proof that that Rose Gardens later spawn existed. Voluptuous Vivian or Voracious Vilma. Which one was it?
What?
That's how the one where you could only get it if you didn't kill Rose Garden. Someone at that Ballista PvP snuck out of the Ballista zone, went to Yotunga Jungle, and found it there. And that was the first confirmation that it actually existed, because on regular servers, no one could ever get it.
What the fuck are you talking? Wait, what?
There was an NM.
I do not remember this at all.
So yeah, in Yotunga Jungle, I think it was, there was an NM that there was Rose Garden who only spawned if you didn't kill the overgrown roses for a certain period
They were like
of time.
Marlboro type mobs.
Right, the Marlboro type mobs. And the rumor for the longest time was that if you didn't kill Rose Garden for an extended period of time, a higher tier Marlboro NM would spawn. I think it was Voluptuous Vilma.
No, yeah, Vivian was the one that was in On the Way to Dragon's area.
Yeah. So it was Voluptuous Vilma. But no one could prove it because everyone would just kill Rose Garden whenever it was spawned for the possible item drop. So when this Ballista event happened, this crossover Ballista event, it was on a different server. Someone left the Ballista event during the event, went to Yotunga Jungle, and found the NM spawned there, and that was the confirmation that NM existed.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I totally
Actual bit of old FF11 lore for you.
Wow. I had no idea.
Meanwhile,
proud.
WoW's doing this Mythic Dungeon event.
Let's get on to that. So this is crazy. I love the idea of them trying to turn their PvE dungeons into an esport.
So is it like speed running, or are they scoring you?
It's a combination of speed running.
A combination of both. The way that Mythic Dungeons work is that when you do a Mythic Dungeon for the first time, you get a special item that when you go into the Mythic version of it, if you beat it, your item then gets upgraded. So the next time you put it in there, it's a harder version and a harder version. And every 3 or 4 instances of that, it applies some type of bonus to the mobs. Like, for example, they have increased health. They have healing over time. They put down extra AoEs. They have no hate table. So the more and more you do it and you're successful, not only do they get stronger, but it puts certain restrictions to also make it harder.
Yep, and so basically you're also scored not only on clearing it, but how many deaths you have and all that kinds of stuff. This is really cool. This is actually something that they've been doing for a little bit. This is the first invitational, but at BlizzCon last year, they had their dungeons styled up in a PvP or in a PvE tournament style focus, and it was pretty popular.
Well, because FF14 did the speedrunning contest at the one fan fest, and that was pretty fun. I mean, that was kind of cool. But I mean, I don't know. Do you guys see this taking off? Look, inside of the WoW community, I'm sure it will be fine. And when your community is the size of a small country, that does seem that seems more sustainable long term. But I mean, do you see? I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna be nice and diplomatic. Do you see other MMOs trying to pull this off, even though they've got so much less play,
honestly,
less of a subscriber
I
base?
think the scope of this goes beyond even just MMOs, because right now when we look at esports, it's all about competitive head-to-head player versus player type stuff, right?
Right.
But this idea of turning, player versus environment, or like AI type stuff into some type of competition. I mean, we kind of mostly
we
see
had the Mass Effect Online was like that.
Well, I mean, sort of. If you think of something like Horde mode, I guess, but just that idea of non-head-to-head type stuff, I think it's interesting. I think right now how it exists in gaming is probably looking at speed running type stuff, right? Because you're not really going head-to-head with each other.
I mean,
but I think it's an interesting idea.
It is kind of like a unique way in for MMOs into that world, right? And we heard, and whether it was fair or true or not, but around the time of FanFest, we heard that Square Enix may have been trying to take PvP in FF14 with the leaderboards and things like that,
right,
and try to make it more competitive in an organized way, like tournaments, more so than what the Feast is, right? To the point where some people had even said, well, FF14 might be an esport because those people
Square
were
Enix had different ideas.
sad and naive. But
could rating in 14 be an esport?
No.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. Not rating, but something like this for other MMOs, because if I'm gonna watch this, if I watch it and then I like the format, right, and there's an audience then for the format, right? Like, I think other MMOs could follow suit and you know, in a much much smaller
see,
way.
I feel like the only way that you could get away with it, because like you said, I mean, WoW obviously has the best chance having the biggest population, right? And I don't even know if that would necessarily take off on its own. Now, you could maybe launch some type of league where, similar to how we have the fight, you know, the FGC, right? Where it's, you know, one sort of event or events that have all different games
at some point. Yeah, see, like at some point, that's what it would have to be.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because like MMOs as a genre are kind of in trouble right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to find relevance, I think one of the ways to do that, I mean, whether like, again, its legitimacy is debatable, right? Like, it is kind of a little bit cynical, a little bit cash grabby, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's not totally invalid to want to get involved with an esports scene or try to drive a competitive aspect to your game. So I think like
it would have to be grassroots. It would have to be something like how Smash, you know, sprung up out of nowhere and they're carrying themselves through it. Someone somewhere would have to decide to like make some type of league and just bring in together all these, you know, like world first. See, that's the thing, because I feel like world first is where it's at. And once people have world first, do they really care all that much?
Yeah, if I could make $100,000 with my group, maybe I would.
Yeah,
okay,
the prize pots are definitely, I think, the thing that's attractive right there.
Where's all the money coming from? Because who wants to watch, like, this is essentially like a dungeon run, right?
Yeah, and
I mean,
competitive dungeon.
Like, you're watching people who are like avoiding damage at all turns. They're doing the most damage here and there, and I mean, it's impressive to watch the best of the best.
And when they did this at BlizzCon, the finals drew pretty good Twitch numbers.
It depends on the game. Would I want to watch it in FF14? No, I'm sorry, I wouldn't.
Again, if it was our friends competing,
maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, if it was FF14 because we have a personal stake in that, I think we would watch it.
We would.
We would definitely watch
people who don't have a stake in the people playing.
I think, well, FF14 players are remarkably loyal. That's pretty proven by the fact that Stormblood still has anyone playing it. So, you know,
Loyalty has its limits.
I wouldn't necessarily discount it yet. But I'm saying, like, if there was an event that was FF14 and Guild Wars and you know, a whole bunch of different MMOs were in there, and you were competing for money, like, yeah, dude, I think I would watch that. Would I watch WoW? No, I don't know that. You know, I don't have enough of an attachment to WoW, but I do recognize that WoW has enough of a community to be able to support an idea like that, independent of whether I care about it. So my question is that do other what do other MMOs do if this is even remotely successful?
Of Palace of the Dead and Isle style races between people. Like, how fast can you clear the challenge on this floor and get to the top before the other teams?
Palace 1 to 200, that could actually be interesting to watch.
That would be.
Cut out the first 100.
Yeah, fair enough. Palace 101 to 200.
Thank you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and then if you die, you're eliminated. Boom, gone.
Well, obviously, because if you lose, then you're not going to catch up.
You can start. You just start over, and then
starting over, because you never know if somebody else does, and that could make for a really interesting comeback too.
That's true. That's true.
I think that, you know, if MMOs wanted to do that, and if they wanted to get competitive, that if they banded together. Because I think that's what they would need to do.
That's why it would have to be grassroots, because, you know, Square Enix is going to get together with like Blizzard or whoever makes Guild or
no. Take Blizzard out of that equation. They're going to blaze the path, right? They're going to blaze the trail, and they're going to find out if beyond their own community there is any interest in this, right? And if there is interest beyond their own community, then I do think that other MMOs will look at this as an opportunity. Now, if they banded together, right, like in kind of a grassroots way, like let's say, you know, Square Enix and NCSoft and trying to think of other MMO developers, but no one's really coming to mind.
Blade and Soul.
Bethesda, okay, who made Blade? I don't even remember who made Blade and Soul.
Some Korean company.
Black Desert Online, right? Like, that's another one. I don't know who developed that. But, like, let's say all of them banded together and was like, all right, we're going to make an event, and it's going to be the competitive MMO event. I think that, you know, if you thought outside the box and thought creatively, then it's possible something like that could take off. But again, you know, MMOs are going to have to do something and we've said this for a long time, outside of just repeating the WoW cycle over and over and over again, to be able to remain relevant moving forward, whether that's finding new gameplay options or, new environment options or, the next phase in what MMO gameplay is going to look like, or whether it's getting more involved on a competitive level. I think that, either approach is valid. I mean, I guess I would like to throw more creative development at the problem, but that's just me.
MMO players are fiercely protective of their game. I would love an event where different MMO players are gathered in one building. Are you kidding me?
Oh man, yeah, that would be cool, dude. That's
a sitcom waiting to happen.
Like I remember at FF14 FanFest, there was a guy there in an EverQuest 2 shirt, and like all of the stink-eyed looks that he was getting. It didn't help that he had suspenders and a twirly mustache like a stupid hipster moron.
Yeah, that wasn't doing him any favors.
Yeah, no, that wasn't helping. But he was getting a lot of hate stares. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, yeah, he's going for that.
Trolling,
yeah,
so.
Exactly.
Hats off to him.
Get ready, Star Wars fans. The open beta for Star Wars Battlefront 2 has officially been announced. From October 6th through the 9th, players will be able to take part in the Galactic Assault on Naboo. In addition, players who pre-ordered will be able to jump in a couple days earlier on the 4th.
That'll be fun.
I'm pumped. Disney has revealed some details and a first look at the upcoming Star Wars Land attractions at Disney World and Disneyland. Set to open in 2019, both attractions take place on a planet we have yet to see, where bounty hunters and smugglers run amok. Two of the main features will see people taking control of the Millennium Falcon, as well as an attraction where people will be dropped into a battle between the Resistance and the First Order.
Was I crazy? Because I thought when I looked at the development art for this that it looked a lot like Naboo.
The article has listed as being an as of yet unannounced planet. I don't think it looked like Naboo terribly to me.
Maybe.
I thought like it reminded me of like kind of like Ord Mantell before it was completely a junkyard.
Yeah, I'm gonna open this article and see if there's a difference between. Yeah, okay, maybe I just saw it really quickly at a glance, and I just saw the domes.
That top thing, the domes look like Naboo architecture.
The domes definitely do look Naboo-ish. Well, that's pretty cool.
Actually, it looks actually very much like Tatooine too. That dome structure,
a little bit, yeah. But you can see when you look at the full model, that there's a lot of trees. That's actually probably what I thought was Naboo-y about it. But yeah, I mean, it's like somewhere in between that though, and the idea that this is a new, a new planet, and you just kind of get to be dropped into your own Star Wars experience, I think is very, very cool.
Marvel has a new game called Powers United VR coming up exclusively for Oculus. The game will allow players to take control of various superheroes in VR and also boast a cooperative mode to team up with other heroes. More characters will be announced at San Diego Comic-Con next week, with the game slated for release in 2018.
Superpowers in VR seems like really fun. That's like what VR was made for.
Exactly.
Like that's exactly what I want out of VR.
Iron Man suit in VR, yes, please.
No, just being the Hulk and jumping everywhere. The only game where you actually want to be the Hulk.
I mean, just like, the ability to fly. Just the ability to just, like, fly and make it feel like it's a superpower.
Come on,
that's kind of cool.
If this is like a sort of like an all battleground, whatever, like you're just in the city doing stuff, even phasing powers would be really cool. Being able to, like, jump through walls and stuff.
Like a Nightcrawler sort of thing.
Yeah. Or Kitty Pryde, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Vision.
Yes,
yeah. Well, Kitty Pryde, there you go. Yeah, Vision, whatever.
4 years after being confirmed at E3 2013, KH3 has finally been given a release window. Well,
window.
Window.
It's
the best I got.
They learned from Final Fantasy 15, okay?
Yeah. The game is coming in 2018, and the news dropped at Disney's D23 Expo. It didn't even drop at a Square Enix event.
Of course it would drop at a Disney event, though.
Yeah.
Well, because it also showcased the Toy Story 3
That's
world.
true.
Yeah.
So.
Does anybody care?
We'll see.
No.
I'm looking forward to 3 months from now.
I was gonna say,
really care.
here's the thing,
Nika.
The Toy Story world looks so cute.
Nika, shut up for a second. There's 3 type of people. There's
Let
people
me explain to you, okay? Hold on.
No, there's people who don't care. You two, for example, right?
Right.
There's people on the other side of the spectrum, like Nika or our friend Liz, who's just like, throw cocks at me, Sora. And then there's the people sort of in the middle that want to care but don't, because they know that this isn't coming till 2020.
I was gonna say, like, I'm looking forward to 6 months from now when I get to announce the delay.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is like, I mean,
6 months? That's being generous.
Fool us
That's how long
once,
it'll take for them to
Square
admit it.
Enix, shame on you. Fool us the second, third, fourth, fifth time, shame on us. And after that, we're done with your bullshit.
Can anyone reasonably explain to me why this game has taken so long. It's not that visually impressive. I mean, like, it's okay, but it's very cartoony. It's not like you have to do photorealistic graphics.
Within the Toy Story trailer here, there was like a crap ton of like new mechanics and like combat related stuff.
Here's what I'll give you. Here is what I'll give you is that the art variation between world to world is probably a challenge. That has got to be it. That's got to be a challenge.
I can see that
I
because
can
you go
see
from
it.
like Toy Story where you want like the 3D like computer gen, then you go to like Little Mermaid, which would have been more drawn.
Right.
You know what I think's probably happening is that within each world, because in the Toy Story one, it showed Sora he kept jumping into like these giant mech shooters and stuff, and they all had like different like loadouts and stuff.
Oh boy.
So my thing is like every world we have to have a completely new 100% different mechanic that only happens in this world that doesn't happen anywhere else, and it's like making an entirely new little mini game within that world. Because if that's what's happening, fuck off.
That's being really generous of Square Enix to like come up with that much forethought and like creativity per world.
Except none of them are like all that great. It's just like, oh, here's a rail shooter. You're in a thing now.
Well, breaking news this morning, actually, the 13th Doctor has been revealed by BBC.
Oh, my God.
Jodie Whittaker will be the next Doctor on Doctor Who, marking the very first female Doctor.
I hate this.
That's awesome.
Have you ever watched Doctor Who?
And that's really exciting.
No, it's bad because...
You've never watched an episode, have you?
Because it makes all of his marriages throw into question really awkward things now.
He's never been married.
Never been married.
What? I just read someone in the chat saying that before the show.
Oh, wait.
That's the only context I have.
I guess Matt Smith gets married to River Song in the future, but do we ever see that happen?
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about, you idiot.
God, I don't... He does.
I don't know. I watched Matt Smith seasons.
Stop paying attention to Chris right now. Like
yeah, you stupid.
We're as soon as
troll guy.
As soon as anyone said Doctor Who, just never listen to anything that Chris is going to say.
What's great about this is now
cool.
all those Doctor Who fans out there get to find out which of their friends are like huge misogynistic sexists now.
Oh my God.
True.
Oh God. Oh, this is. Oh no.
Doctor's never been a girl. How dare you change a core aspect of his character?
I've just seen all of the threads that are going to take place for the next 9 months.
I already seen a bunch of them on Facebook. Someone had taken a bunch of like tweets about it and actually made Doctor Who title cards out of the tweets. So one of them was like, political correctness does not belong in space.
Oh.
Great. Now the TARDIS is going to be full of bras.
That's so funny.
I literally hate people.
I have only seen good things so far posted on my Facebook.
I think it's fantastic.
I also feel like
I'm looking forward
it's
to it.
prime for some really like hilarious like stuff because technically it's still the same Doctor.
Yeah.
He's
Right,
just
it's
in
the
a
same
new
person.
body.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Theoretically,
gonna be great.
Theoretically, this has been possible the entire time.
Well, that was like kind of what happened when Capaldi happened because the girl who was like in love with the Doctor, she's like, why did he turn himself old?
Yeah.
Hold on. Now I have a legitimate question. So if the Doctor's all the same person each time,
Right.
So
Well,
why are you calling?
He's reincarnated. Yeah.
Why are you calling him a girl now?
You're assuming the gender.
You are definitely assuming the gender.
Or
he
what-
is still a guy.
Or were we assuming the gender with the first Doctors?
the first 12?
Obviously,
I think you would have said something, okay?
Maybe he's thinking like, you know what? I want to try the other side of the
how
spectrum
about
now.
the Doctor isn't male or female? He's some disembodied god force, so he's not
He's
male or
he's
female.
a Time Lord.
Yeah, whatever that is. Do
Yeah.
they have genders?
It's
I have no idea.
he
They
sounds
have
like
multiple
Peter Quill.
hearts.
What?
What?
He's like Peter Quill?
No, that's Star Lord.
Oh, there's a difference?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Space?
Wow.
Like
Okay,
Star-
we've already decided we're not listening to Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
that women are equal to men. I'm serious.
Why did I go out of my way to give you a camera today?
I told you not to.
I know you didn't.
You're putting everyone at risk of fire.
Just to be able to show your fatness on screen.
Yeah, it's really stupid of you.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more about TV, but for more information on news and other stories, you can ask Juxta about it. He's happy to talk to you about the news.
You've got to write.
Clearly.
You've
He's
got
going to give you all the wrong answers. But
Are you going to ever write new out copy for the news? You lazy piece of shit.
No, I change it every week to
You're
be
not.
someone
You're
else.
just putting someone else there. It's the same joke each time.
You
What do
literally
you want?
haven't even write something. Write something.
Get
there.
creative.
Jesus.
I know you're at the
let your
news desk.
creative juices flow.
I know.
Yeah,
you're,
you goddamn dunce cap.
Yeah, you're a dunce chair right now. Like,
living embodiment of a dunce cap.
You realize that Chris gets more creative than you on LBR.
Yeah?
Every week, and it hurts my head sometimes.
Sometimes.
Why would I want to sign up for that?
It hurts all of us all the time. I
Thank
promise.
you. Oh, thank you. That's the nicest thing you ever said.
All right, so wow, we've burned a lot of time on the news. We had a lot of news to cover.
Oh, wait, we need to talk more about the doctor.
No.
Run out that fucking clock.
Again, I'm going to be out at San Diego Comic-Con next weekend. If you're going to be out there, send me a tweet. Let me know. I'd be happy to say hi. In fact, on Checkpoint Radio, we've got a pretty awesome giveaway that's going to be going. We've got last chance passes, 10 pairs of passes to San Diego Comic-Con that we're going to be giving away. Details of that are going to be posted soon over at Facebook.com/CheckPTRadio and at CheckPTRadio on Twitter. All right, so make sure that you go and you follow,
favorite, subscribe,
whatever,
thumbs up,
whatever
comment.
whatever you got to do. God damn, the power is really bad today. Whatever you got to do, make sure that you do that. If you want a chance at a pair of passes to go to San Diego Comic-Con, so that's exciting. Big, huge shout out to Kooky. Thank you so much. She was the one who put this whole thing together.
Happen.
Yeah, and we're super excited to be able to give those away to our listeners. So again, if you haven't already, go make sure that you follow Check PT Radio on Facebook and Twitter. Because we've got details of that contest that are coming soon. All right, so let's talk about television because this week, man,
it's a good week, man.
It is.
It's a great Sunday. Like I know we're gonna go do a raid after, but there's got to be some timeliness there because we got shows to watch tonight.
Fuck you, DVR it.
Yeah, well, hang on. My question is, do you guys watch this live or do you time shift?
I watch it live.
I mean, there's no reason to time shift Game of Thrones because there's no commercials. So
yeah,
why wouldn't you watch that live?
Well,
because we don't have TV.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
you pay for your HBO.
Well, we paid for a year of HBO and still have it, so I don't know.
How quaint.
So here's if you're like me, I'm watching HBO and Showtime through Hulu. Which Hulu is offering, these premium subscription packages. I think HBO.
They just picked up all the HBO Go stuff too.
They did.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a place to be able to watch all of that, that's a good place. So yeah, with the return of Game of Thrones, which is exciting TV for all of us. There's not a single person in this room who isn't excited for Game of Thrones.
I don't like it.
Get out.
Why?
Is it going to feature Bran?
He's going to be in it, I'm sure.
I think so.
That's why I don't like it. Because he sucks.
But
he doesn't even have Hodor anymore.
With the way that they're doing episodes now, hopefully we won't get a little bit of him in all of the episodes. There'll just be one episode that you can just ignore.
Yeah, and well, I mean, isn't Bran going to end up being kind of the bad guy in all this? So you're going to get to see him.
What?
Well, he's the one who's going to make the wall fall.
What?
What?
The wall is protected by the wall is protected by the magic that he breaks when he touches things.
Spoilers!
And when he passes through it, he's gonna break it.
What are you doing?
Spoilers?
That's not spoilers. This is a
we learned this at the end of last
it's
season.
All a theory.
What are you talking about? Spoilers?
There's no spoilers because the books have now caught up.
Oh my
to the show.
god!
What?
That is all contextual through the fucking show. All of that is contextual through the show.
I mean, I understand he breaks things because he's a terrible person, but I know that he had magical breaks.
Yeah, that's why the Night King was able to go and attack them when they were at the Three-Eyed Raven's place because he broke the seal on it because he's an idiot.
God damn it, Bron!
And he's gonna destroy the wall too.
Why does he break things when he touches them?
Because he's got that curse from the Night King on him.
How did he get that curse?
Well, but then there's the whole theory on whether or not he's actually Bran the Builder.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that theory. I know that one.
Which I hope
he fucked everyone up by making the Mad King mad.
That's
I like that theory.
That's a theory too.
That's a theory, yeah.
Yep.
I like that theory.
And that is supported through a whole lot of context through the show, through what he was able to do with Hodor, right?
Yep.
You know, and the whole
when he's able
hold
to
the
take
door.
control of his mind, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also going back and seeing the birth of Jon Snow.
Yep.
So, like, we do know that he has that ability. We also have seen artwork of Bran the Builder, which is told in stories to Brandon as like after he lost the ability to walk by Old Nan. Well, I think that was the name of the character.
The grandma.
Yeah, the old woman who eventually gets killed. But
spoilers.
Like everyone in the show.
If you remember from some of the bonus DVD features that we were watching about this time last year, there's one picture of Bran the Builder that shows him helping to build the wall, but he's sitting on and being carried by people like as if he couldn't walk, like he's sitting on a platform as if he couldn't walk. So there is, I think but he's shown to be a lot older. So like there's a lot of questions around exactly who Bran the Builder is. Because Bran the Builder was also this figure that showed up in multiple places at multiple times, like at the same, like in the same period.
Power, because
exactly.
if he goes in the future, then goes back, and then goes in the future, then goes back. Like he's going to be in multiple places.
Yeah, because literally almost everything important was made by him. Like the Great Castle of in Winterfell, like almost the whole of Winterfell was designed by Bran the Builder with like the crazy like steam piping and everything. Like
couldn't
that
it
exists
easily
there.
have been like Bran trying to fix something
That
by
he's
like
fucked
growing
up?
older and then going back and fixing things he's fucked up?
But
and now he's in multiple places in history.
Well,
See, this is why I don't like Bran. He fucks everything up.
He's the Flash of Game of Thrones.
Dun dun dun.
Branny Allen.
So I think
Bran point.
God. I think that's one of the plot points that I think we're all excited to see pick back up. What are some of the other ones that you're hoping to see?
Cersei's gonna get off.
I'm glad.
Cersei, I think Cersei is truly
She's
fucked.
got a very short window this
She is
season.
fucked.
I think she's gone by episode 2.
I think she's dead soon.
I mean, outside of the internal strife that she's sown for herself, she's got problems from the north, she's got problems from the south, and both are very quickly going to start encroaching on her.
Literally, Jon Snow.
With Jamie too.
Yeah, literally, Jon Snow has reunited the North, so they're going to be pissed at her. You got the Dorne army has allied with the Greyjoy army and the Khaleesi's, her whole thing army, with 3 dragons all showing up.
The fact that Daenerys is finally joining the story instead of overdoing her own
That's
fucking
true.
thing.
Yeah, that it should concentrate mostly on Westeros.
Yes.
I can't remember. I wanted to do a season 6 rewatch real quick before we did the show, but I didn't get a chance to.
You have time.
No. Arya. Where Arya? Arya. Where's Arya?
She is on her way back to the North.
On her way.
She just
murdered people.
Yeah,
right.
She just left the Freylands.
She just survived the murder attempt on her. Right?
Well, she did, but she got back to Westeros
and murdered other people.
Yeah,
that's right. She murdered the pie people.
Yeah,
right. I remember that. Yeah.
Apparently, we might see Nymeria come back this season.
I hope so.
Her dog, who ran away at the
right,
first. Yeah,
right.
Dire Wolf. Thank you very much.
And if it's anything like the books, it's going to be great because in the books, Nymeria now leads a pack of wolves that only eat Freys. That's all they do is meander around the Freylands and eat Freys.
That is awesome.
I'm all about that Frey life.
I don't like. There's a lot of.
Seems like their hold on the land is fraying quickly.
Boo.
Well, I'd say it's about gone.
Boo. Oh my God, you're terrible.
And yeah, Jamie's probably gonna be none too happy with Cersei either.
Oh yeah.
Now that he's shown back up and all their children are dead, so
and it's
Well,
all
it's not her fault.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
one of them is directly
her
her
youngest
fault.
son killed himself.
That's not her fault. That was
She
his
killed
choice.
his wife. No. He had nothing to live for at that point, and she knew that.
Okay, this is Game of Thrones. Where
She knew he was going to do that because she wanted the throne in the first place. Whether or not she wanted to admit it to herself or not, she knew somewhere inside that was going to happen.
Okay, she didn't want to kill her son for it.
Well,
are you sure about that?
I mean, I don't know.
That's the only people she cares
wanted
is
to
her
kill him
family.
in a way that doesn't seem like it's her fault.
Intentional or not, she is the cause of all their deaths because she's also the one who sent her daughter to the Dorne lands originally too. That was what led to her death.
No.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did.
That was little guy.
Tyrion when he was trying to figure out who was in Cersei's pocket. 'Cause remember, he had promised her off to 3 different people.
No, she didn't. Cersei didn't want to send her away.
Yeah.
She was heartbroken about that.
Yeah, because Jaime went to bring her back.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally, the only people that Cersei ever cares about is her children.
Is her children, yeah. How did
but she did send, didn't she send one of her kids away to protect him? I thought it was one of the younger.
I thought she sent the daughter away to protect her.
No, I don't think Cersei
no,
didn't
you're
want
right.
to
That
send
was
her away.
Tyrion. Yeah.
Okay, that was Tyrion.
Yeah.
And Tyrion offed Joffrey, or no, Lady of
no,
Roses.
Littlefinger.
Martell did it.
No,
didn't
Lady
she?
Martell.
Yeah, Lady Martell offed.
Oh yeah. That's
Joffrey.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many fucking characters.
Let me get your guys' take on something, because this is one of the things that in the back of my head I've been wondering for a while, because at the end of the season I feel like it doesn't truly explain it. But okay, so we're going to talk about Sansa for a minute. Everyone's favorite.
Who?
Boo.
Who?
No.
Yeah. So when Jon Snow, when they're all like, all right, he's king of the North now, and it's very obvious that, hey, look, they're all pledging their loyalty to him. She gives this look to Littlefinger, right?
Right.
What do you think that look is?
Come hither.
Because earlier in that episode, he tells her, like he's trying to basically say, look, he's a bastard. They're not going to follow him. They're going to follow you. I can help you. Blah 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 blah.
No, it was a stick to him. I think. Like, aha, see, this can't happen.
Okay, see, that's what I thought. But I remember there being an interview with her actress that I read, and the way that she talked about that moment was like she feels slighted by the fact that even though she saved him with the army, that now she feels slighted.
I have heard that as well.
Really? 'Cause
Yeah.
I always thought it was more like she was going to stand behind Jon, and she was sticking his little
makes
finger.
so much sense because she hasn't done shit this entire fucking show, and she doesn't deserve to be in charge.
I think
She
actually
saved him.
Well, yeah,
Did she? By withholding information.
Because he wasn't listening to her.
I mean, that's
He was
fair. That's fair.
mansplaining to her.
I mean, bringing in the Knights of the Vale was pretty clutch. I mean, that was the only thing that saved his
him.
bacon at that point. So, I think that she probably does deserve credit for that, but I think it would be, I think it would be really dumb and infuriating. I mean, like, most fans of the show will really turn on Sansa if she thinks she deserves credit for that.
Sansa has been used and abused by just about everyone she's with on this show. I don't think there's any way she suffers Littlefinger trying to control her now.
Yeah, that's the thing is I
don't think that's happening.
And
that whole the whole ending of the last season with her feeding Ramsay to his dogs, that was supposed to be her like, fuck you, I do things for myself
especially like honestly, because she rejected Littlefinger's advances. Like if she was like wanting to get in with him, or I don't see.
She would have by now. I feel like.
I don't see the motivation for her to go with Littlefinger unless, like you're saying, she thinks that she's been slighted by Jon. But that is so fucking stupid, given the other abuses the other direct abuses that she's suffered.
I agree.
Especially like maybe somewhere deep down she might feel that a tiny bit, but like Sansa's loyalties have always been to her family, and she's always liked Jon. So I don't think that that's something that.
Oh, money, thank you.
Thank you
for the bits.
Appreciate it.
Sweet, 100 bits.
I was like, I didn't hear a message there.
No message.
No, there was no message. But that's the thing is that like she's suffered the injustices of Joffrey. She suffered the injustices of Ramsay. Exactly. Like after coming out of those two situations, you like to murder someone who is actually of your own blood, or to turn on them, or to try to usurp their power that they've clearly been given.
That's a Cersei type shit, and I don't see Sansa being
after all of that character development. No, because like there's just no way. I don't see it.
Look, I hope it isn't, because I actually want to see all the Starks band together now. But it could be like one of those like last straw type stuff. Because you're right, this is nothing compared to what she's been through so far.
Sansa never really wanted to be the leader before. Like even when she was like with Joffrey, she cared more about being with Joffrey than really being like queen of it.
She wanted to live in
that was before.
Pretty fancy. Like she didn't care that much about actually power or ruling. So I don't see that character.
People change.
Yeah, people change after all your family is slaughtered.
Well, yeah, after he killed Ned, it was more about survival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all throughout Ramsay, it was all about survival. But again, who put her in the position to be taken advantage of by Ramsay?
Littlefinger.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
That's why,
if she does
pretty
any,
sure she
makes no character fucking sense for her to do that.
If she does any type of siding with Littlefinger, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, please help me. I think she's finally going to sort of take her place and use him.
Yes.
And do like a complete role reversal to where he is now her bitch.
That's what I see. Like when she gave him that look, it might be her saying like, you know what, this person has betrayed me, but I can use him. We are gonna still want the Knights of the Vale at some point.
Maybe she thinks she has
still trying to like get her to his side, so she could easily play along. And
I think she thinks that she has one up over Littlefinger finally. That's what I think that is.
Here's my problem with everything is that if she thinks that she can one up Littlefinger, who's been like the mastermind schemer behind like basically lots and lots of things.
You don't know, but she does.
He's always wants to be ahead of everybody.
You know that, Chris. You know that. She does not know that. Remember that. You know that as a member of the audience. She, as a character, has no concept beyond their direct dealings with one another how connected or how corrupt Littlefinger actually is.
I hope she doesn't try to one up him because he's always 10 steps ahead of everybody.
I think
But I feel like with how desperately he was going after Sansa in this instance, though, I feel like he might not have a leg up in this particular battle.
He's running out of cards up his sleeve.
I think you're both right, but I think that if Sansa or Jon Snow underestimate Littlefinger even a little bit, that it's really not going to turn out well, because that's the thing, is that he's been on his back before, man. Like, I feel like he's been in this position more than a few times where he's had irons in the fire that haven't panned out, but what he's best at is getting out with his skin intact. That's what he's always best at.
And then Littlefinger.
And he starts with nothing again and builds it back up.
Him and Varys are the MVPs.
Yeah. Well, and Varys has a very sort of similar, path through society where it feels
Varys
like
can teleport.
Well,
I mean, that's just an advantage that you have.
Yeah, don't even. Now we're getting into tinfoil hat territory. But Varys does have a very similar story, coming from nothing, building to everything, and I think anyone who kind of comes from that has a better appreciation of being able to claim that sort of place in society, and not just that, but also what to do if it all gets taken away. Like they're better, they're way more adept than any fucking Lannister is if they get everything taken from them, right? Like if it was Littlefinger or if it was Varys in any of those dungeon cells, they would have found a way out. They always seem to.
By all reports too, Euron Greyjoy is going to be brutal.
Who?
The
brother of
the guy who
the chick?
No. The uncle
the
who
uncle.
randomly showed up and was like, "I'm king now." Bye.
That guy. Yeah,
Just so you know, I'm king now, and they're like, "Cool, we're taking your boats."
Yeah, like that shit is apparently supposed to get fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's supposed the actor was talking about it, and he's just like, "This is a character unlike any I've ever played. This guy is fucking nuts."
My favorite battle moment in all of Game of Thrones is still the battle on Black Bay. With the wildfire and stuff.
Oh yeah.
That was cool. Tyrion's battle.
That was a good one. Yeah. Lots to be excited about for Game of Thrones. But I also wanted to take an opportunity to talk about another show that really sort of paved the way for all of modern television. And this is, I'm of course talking about Twin Peaks. This is probably one of my favorite shows ever in history. I first watched it when I was going through college. One of our friends, Dave Bailey, showed it to me, which makes sense.
Of course, Dave
right?
Bailey would watch
right? Exactly. Right? Like it absolutely makes sense if you knew Dave Bailey at all.
Which you guys don't.
No, you don't. You don't.
Why
but everyone in this room, except you, everyone in this room does. But one of my all-time favorite movies, and David Lynch is one of my all-time favorite directors. And so this was a show that started in 1989. On ABC. It ran for 2 seasons. I think it had 18 episodes.
Even on ABC, huh?
18 episodes in its initial run. Well, this is a show that changed television forever. Television was changed like forever after this point. So just a little bit of background info as our lights continue to flicker, which is appropriate since we're talking about David Lynch. If you don't know who David Lynch is, okay, so Twin Peaks was by David Lynch and Mark Frost. So David Lynch was is a surrealist artist and filmmaker. He's made films like Eraserhead, The Elephant Man, Dune, Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, Mulholland Drive, The Straight Story, and Inland Empire.
That whoever controls the spice, that's David Lynch?
Yes. That's David Lynch. Yeah.
Now I know why I don't like David Lynch.
And the main guy from it too, Kyle MacLachlan.
No, I never watched Dune, but I know all about it because I'm getting this.
Well, then you get that too.
Okay.
That's his.
That's mine.
It's his? Okay.
Where were you going?
I was going to go fill it up for you.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you needed. Okay.
You've actually watched this terrible show. You say.
Watch is a strong word.
Fucking... Why do I ask him to do anything ever?
I don't know.
Why do I ever?
Still wondering.
Wait. Let's be fair here. Nika, did you watch the pilot?
No.
Fuck you too.
God damn it, Nika!
I'm not interested in this
Look,
show.
she's busy. Okay,
it's an hour and a half of your time to have context about a conversation on a show
not to mention you can do what I did.
For.
You can do other stuff while you watch it.
Yeah, for crying out loud. Yeah, like it's not like it's a fucking anime that has subtitles that you have to read the whole fucking time.
I also might have totally missed this conversation and not realized I was supposed to watch it. So
that doesn't surprise me at all.
God damn it, Nika.
Sorry.
This is not that fucking hard.
She's programming the shows next week, everyone, so look forward to that.
Yep. The show. One show.
Anyway, Twin Peaks.
So I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan of David Lynch. Love his movies. And so he signed on to this project with ABC just after Blue Velvet. And so Lynch and Frost had actually shopped a project together called Goddess, which was about the death of Marilyn Monroe. And that was sort of like... And it didn't go anywhere, but that was sort of like the genesis of the idea that ended up becoming Twin Peaks. Mark Frost is an author, and he's also a television and filmmaker. He had just come off of Hill Street Blues, so he had like an incredibly popular TV run. He had also made another show called American Chronicles, and he was the author of The List of Seven and The Six Messiahs, which were both, I guess, huge books. So the reason that Twin Peaks is kind of culturally and historically important is because it was a show that sort of pushed expectations, and not only like pushed expectations, but also commented on other TV that was happening around it. So I think if you wanted to trace back the lineage of a lot of huge shows that have like a mystery at their center, like Lost, right? Or Carnival or Fringe.
Or shows that actually had overarching stories and weren't just like self-contained every episode.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that about TV.
Well, and you got to think about what TV was like before this, right?
That's fair.
Like you had a huge abundance of shows that were wrapped up in 30 minutes. They had a single storyline, or maybe it was if you're lucky, it was like a 2-part special. And Twin Peaks was one of those that started with a mystery, and it kept that mystery going, and they even had a lot of pressure from ABC to solve the mystery. So the central mystery of the entire show, it starts off with the murder of a high school girl named
Homecoming Queen.
Yeah, Homecoming Queen, and her name's Laura Palmer. And so that, if you watch interviews with David Lynch, he's like, that was the central mystery that the show was built around, and every other mystery was sort of like a branch on a tree, and the trunk was the Laura Palmer mystery. And it was never, when he made it, like when he came up with the idea of that concept, it was never supposed to be solved. It was supposed to be a permanent MacGuffin for the show. And so, and despite pressure from the studio, he kept that mystery going for quite a long time.
Did they ever solve it?
They do solve it.
Okay.
And
so he couldn't stick to his guns.
Well, I mean, again, think about it. For a show of that time to create week over week the demand for the viewer to tune in week to week, that was a big ask. Like
back then, yeah,
especially because you had to make time, right? Like you had to make time out of the VCRs.
You weren't DVRing it.
Yeah, DVRs weren't huge. VCRs.
If you missed it, you were fucked.
This is 1989. VCRs were actually still quite expensive. So yeah, if you missed it, you were kind of fucked. And this was the biggest show in America in 1989. The biggest fucking show. And again, when David Lynch and Mark Frost made it, they had no idea what kind of cultural phenomenon they were making. They just made something that they thought was fun and quirky and a direction that television should be going in, but they didn't really have a plan. It was sort of like they put it out there and then they were like, oh shit, people really
it's happening.
Yeah, and then they had to they had to go back and start making more episodes and writing more stuff. And so, a lot of the show feels very cobbled together, right? Like made up, kind of made up at the last minute. And
that makes a little bit some sense.
That's because it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of the very first shows that had a production like that. Like there were like general ideas that were mapped out, right? And the bits in between were kind of made up as they went along. Here's a great example, right? And I'm sure our lights will flicker while I'm telling this story. And that's appropriate because there's a scene in the movie, right? The movie's called Fire Walk With Me. And by the way, while I'm here, don't watch the movie until after you've seen the first 2 seasons. So it is a prequel, but it spoils the central mystery, right? So you don't want to.
So I should finish season 2 before I watch that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, without a doubt. But there's one scene in there, a very specific scene. It happens between the man from another place, which is the backwards talking dancing midget.
Yep, that was weird.
And Bob, who is defined a little bit more clearly as the show goes on.
Okay.
But he is the killer that they're searching for, probably where you're at right now. So the specific scene that takes place while it was being filmed, there was like maybe, I don't know, 9 or 10 lines of dialogue that were supposed to be spoken. And when they had to light the scene, they had to use a generator to do it. And the generator kept blowing. Like they tried to record the scene maybe 4 or 5 times and the generator kept blowing.
Wow.
And he switched a line of dialogue and they did the scene again. The generator didn't blow. And what David Lynch said was, I thought that was it. Right? Like like when I say it was made up, like it was very much like in the moment, if something felt right, they went with it. It was that kind of like creative thing, but at the same time also building towards a central mystery.
That's like, as I've watched this show, I see like Agent Cooper, right? Mm-hmm. And he's kind of quirky, I think is a generous way of describing it. And like I feel like this world is built for him because anything he says comes true. Like it's almost like the world goes out of its way to accommodate the things that he says.
Well, it's interesting. I'm really looking forward for you to get to season 3 because there's a lot of really interesting character development that Cooper ends up having that I'm going to be interested on.
Only 2 seasons. How is there a season 3?
So there was the 2 seasons that aired between 1989 and 1990. There was the film that came out, and I want to say it was like 92 or 93, and then there was basically a 25-year gap. And Showtime picked up the series again, and new episodes started being aired. I think we're 10 episodes deep now.
They Doctor Who'd it. They're bringing it
season
back.
3, or
that's season 3.
It's not a reboot. It's a sequel. It's a
continuation.
It's a continuation. Now, here's the really interesting.
It was from 90 to 91, not 89 to 90.
Sorry, 90 to 91. Here's the really interesting part: is that at the end of the second season, one of the characters says, there's a line in there that says, "See you again in 25 years."
Wait, really?
Yes. So
they did that on purpose?
It's like, okay, so what they've said, because there have been a lot of questions asked, obviously, about Mark Frost and David Lynch about that line specifically, and they said that they kind of threw it in there as like, oh, wouldn't that be funny if after 25 years we brought it back? And then once conversations got really serious, David was like, I've got to find a way back into the world. And of course, that was the line that did it. Like, that was what allowed him to be able to feel like it was appropriate to go back. One of the things about
That's
David,
kind of fun.
One of the things about David Lynch is that he's very much a guy who works off of like feel, right? Like, he's an artist. He is at his core, I would say that he's more a painter and an actual visual artist than he is a filmmaker. He's more widely known in pop culture for his films, but I think his body of work around photography and painting is way deeper than his filmography is. So, you've got to understand that this guy is an abstract artist by his nature. And when Showtime had originally approached David and Mark about doing the series again, they originally had agreed to 9 episodes until David walked away, had publicly said that I'm walking away from the project, and then Showtime threw another 9 episodes on top of it.
Wow, almost doubled it.
And so, like, if he feels like it's something that he doesn't want to do, or that there's no...
If he can't do it correctly?
If he can't do it correctly, he's talked a long time about, the reason that Dune was such a problematic movie for him was that he didn't get final cut. And so after that, that's always been one of the big things that he's needed. But he's definitely one of those who's, like, not afraid to walk away from a paycheck because there's something, it may be even something small that he doesn't agree with. And the fact that they were able to get him behind it, and to get him to direct all 18 episodes, because he didn't even direct all of the first 2 seasons. Like, he would hand off his direction to other people. But the fact that he's directing all 18 episodes of the new season is super awesome and exciting.
It's really unheard of in, like, TV.
It is. It's very unique. It's very unique. But yeah, the fact that you could even look at, like, oh, this may have even been somewhat planned or conceived a long time ago. It's really remarkable what this show has done in terms of pop culture. And I mean, this was also the first show that really started mixing a lot of different genres together, because the first time you see it, you're like, oh, this is a cheesy soap opera.
It's a soap opera, yeah.
But it's also...
it starts out like a Who's Done It type show.
But it's also a murder mystery and a police procedural. There's like really serious elements of comedy and slapstick that are thrown in there. At points, like at some very specific points, it goes into horror territories. Like, I mean,
whenever Laura's mother is on the screen, you want to slash your wrists.
Oh my God, dude! Yeah, Grace Zabrowski is the name of that actress, and she is amazing. And it also has this noir feel to it that David Lynch has kind of worked into a lot of his movies for a long time. And so when you kind of package all of those elements together, it really ends up making something that in 1990 really stood out from everything else. Again, think of the shows that were on around 1990-91. You've got things like 90210 and Melrose Place that were steeped in melodrama, but all of those beats were really predictable. You had, very cheesy soap opera, daytime soap opera television that people would watch in fucking truckloads.
And you see it all here. Like the guy gets his parole.
Yes.
Yeah. What's his name?
Hank.
Hank, thank you. He gets his parole and he comes back and immediately he's kind of like back to doing like criminal stuff, and he's like showing up in the background with like now interacting with all these characters. I'm like, this is straight out of a soap opera.
It is. And they took a lot of the conventions that existed around television of the time. That's why when you watch it, it does, the original 2 seasons feel very dated. They do feel very much like an anachronism. They're stuck in a time period.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. Like, I actually like that. I really like that. It was a big appeal for me. And the music. Oh my God, the fucking music.
So here's the thing about the music. The main Twin Peaks theme, like, the main score that they use.
Yes.
they will use that same score no matter what the mood of the scene is, and it drives me fucking nuts. They play that music when we've got the woman weeping over her daughter being dead, and then they use it again when a guy is confessing his love to a girl. I'm like, they don't care. They just use that music as often as possible.
I think it actually speaks to how versatile that music is. Like, there's a lot of overlapping themes that end up going on in the original run.
I feel like David Lynch saw the very final scene of Friday the 13th, where the girl wakes up on like the boat, and just like he's like, oh, I like the score. I'm constantly waiting for Jason to like pop out somewhere.
The other thing about this was that it was among one of the first multimedia shows where it wasn't just confined to, like, if you wanted the full story, right? You didn't just have to watch every episode of the TV show.
The first expanded universe.
There were also books. There was an audio book. Like it leaked into other forms of media and was so pervasive that, and was so hot originally that it justified it, right? Like, it was able to do that.
And what's the shows nowadays that try to force it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, they're doing that again in really creative ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the most recent episodes, one of the episodes that aired, I think this was last week, there was this confession from Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard is actually in the new run and has some really fantastic scenes, but he's working through a confession in this scene, and it's very intense, and they talk about him running a blog, and the blog actually fucking exists. Like, right? Like, and so you watch the episode, and then you spend the next 2 days reading through the fucking blog. It's fascinating. Like, I love when TV shows do this, and this was really the first TV show that took and stretched itself beyond the bounds of just the TV show and really expanded the lore.
Wait, was this in 1990?
Yeah,
that's
1990.
Well, yeah.
So you like the show because it's the first iteration of an ARG.
No, I actually, some of the side content I haven't really discovered until recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it probably does explain some of his love for ARGs.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it does, like anything that does that, I think, is always really fun and impressive. So,
I mean, you like ARGs, Juxta, Overwatch. No. Everything that they do for like the new characters and lore and levels and stuff is all ARG.
Oh, well, I guess if you're talking beyond Sombra stuff, then yeah, it's all right.
Sorry, Nika, go ahead.
Has this Twin Peaks festival then been going on for 25 years annually, or does
no?
that take a break too?
I want to say that it probably started after the series stopped, because I mean, like, you generally, to get a fan festival like that going, you know what I mean, it takes some time.
But it was going annually for a while when the show was not even ever.
Yeah, when it was not on the air, right? Yeah. So you had people that were getting together and talking about their love of cherry pie and coffee, and visiting the R&R diner, and
it's funny probably making up 2 seasons and a movie. And then everyone's like, oh, it's so awesome. Let's have this festival, even though the show is off the air.
Okay, but the thing you have to remember when it comes to weird shows like this, or Legion, or American Gods, is because this stuff is so fucking weird, and it's not something that's obviously readily explained to you,
right?
That for years and years and years and years afterwards, people are always
going to be theorizing
with more theories.
And it's fun to meet and talk with people about that stuff.
And the cool thing is because and I don't feel bad about kind of spoiling this, because it's just a very kind of broad stroke spoiler, and you'd get to start season 3 almost immediately, so it's not that much of a spoiler. But season 2 ends on one of the biggest cliffhangers ever in television. Ever.
Oh.
Ever in television.
Really?
Oh,
yes, ever in television. And so, yeah, this was a show that really did lend itself to theorizing. And, one of the things that David Lynch had stated around the time that he did the first movie was that there were supposed to be 2 other movies. And the movie critically and commercially tanked. It's been described both as one of the worst movies ever made and one of the worst David Lynch movies ever made, which I completely disagree with. I actually think it's the best David Lynch movie ever.
Had you got another movie, it probably would have just been another cliffhanger.
Maybe. I mean, I think he would have wanted to work through all 3 movies, but
I had a show that did that.
It does feel like, now this 3rd season is going, that he's following what he wanted to do. like that. He's really meaningfully kind of continuing on the show, and in a way that no one really expects either. Like, I feel like there are TV shows where you can kind of predict like what the arc is going to be, maybe a quarter or midway through it. I don't know. TV. I don't know what the fuck to expect tonight when I tune in. I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, like season 1's cliffhanger, I thought was really good. Like it was enough that I immediately turned on the first episode of season 2 to find out what happened.
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you to figure out where you're going to watch season 3 now, because when you get to the end of season 2, and then after you watch the movie, you're going to be like, I need to start this shit now.
So what you're saying is, if I'm coming up on the end of my night, stop on the episode before the last of season 2. Don't watch the last episode of season 2.
There is a marked departure between the second to last and the last episode.
Don't tell him any of this. Don't tell him that you want him to be up at like 3 a.m. and watch that last episode and know that now he has to ruin his night. That's the best feeling ever when it's not you.
Anyway, let's go to our phone lines. I guess we've got a random call by landline. Matt, what's going on, Matt?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, Matt. Thanks for calling Final Encountercast, bud.
Yeah. It's a first-time caller calling in the Final Encountercast. I know it's a little bit late. You guys talked about this during the news, but I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on the reveal of the new Doctor. I'm coming from somebody who was initially against the idea of a female Doctor in the first place. I think I had a good reason for it. Nothing really to do with misogyny, but with how ham-fisted the writing of the show has gotten lately. I mean, it's just, like one of my favorite characters in the show, his name was Captain Jack. He's a pansexual, will fuck anything with a hole.
Yeah.
One of the first scenes you see with him, he's patting a British guy on the ass and openly flirting with him. One of the best characters on the show, in my humble opinion. But like recently, you have characters that are trans species, like interdimensional lesbians or some shit like that, and they're constantly like reminding you of it. It's not really that good of a writing, but even so, you have like a character in the recent season, reincarnation of the Master, became a woman, and she's actually one of my favorite incarnations of the character as well. But it's just, I'm holding out a little bit of hesitation, just because normally when it comes to issues like this, they don't really do it all that well.
So you're afraid that their take on the Doctor as a woman is going to be bad then?
I have reservations. It could be good. I have no doubt that some of it's going to be good. But at the same time, they've also kind of given themselves a free pass to dismiss a lot of criticism, legit or not, faced as misogyny when it may not be. And that, I think that's also a little bit troublesome in my opinion.
I don't know.
If that makes sense.
I don't, but like to say though that like that was the intention behind the casting and to shield themselves from criticism, to just by being able to blanketly paint it as misogyny. I don't know that I agree with that. I mean, again, given the way, or at least what I understand of Doctor Who, because I cannot claim to be a fan. I can't even claim to even know about whether or not the writing is ham-fisted lately or not. I honestly...
I can say any episode of Doctor Who I've ever watched. I've watched like 2 episodes, and both of it, the writing was so cheesy and silly, I couldn't get through the whole episode.
But I think that's sort of intrinsic to Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's like
that's the point.
That sort of me always makes me think of British Star Trek: The Next Generation. Of course, it's over the top, but that's the fun.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know that I totally agree with that assessment. And I think, again, given what I understand about the Doctor and the way that his identity changes and shifts, like there's been 13 of them, and there hasn't been he's never been a woman. Like, I think that it does explore some very interesting themes, and I'm going to be interested to see what the new season is going to be able to dive into. I think if you really want to get kind of down in the weeds about it, like some of the writing elements that you're complaining about might have been there to be able to prep the audience for a shift like this so you don't have people throwing a fucking temper tantrum, which is what, I mean, admittedly, anytime you have a big shift in character and a big fan base, you're going to have that. Yep. I think my favorite version of that was Raiden from Metal Gear Solid, right? Like when they did the Raiden switcheroo for Metal Gear Solid 2, that was one of the most amazing
it was so jarring.
because nobody expected it. And it was great. But not every series, when they want to make a drastic change like that was clearly Kojima going, I'm gonna fuck with them, because why not? Like whether or not he was actually driven by he wanted the character to appeal to young Japanese girls or not. I don't know if that's a fucking if that's legit. I mean, it's Kojima, so maybe. But it was more driven, like, especially the way that the reveal is done, he was definitely trying to fuck with that audience. And
because you start out playing Snake.
Right. And
then all of a sudden you're like, nope.
But not everyone who wants to do a character shift is going to be that bold, daring, or in your face about it. They're not just going to go and say, well, fuck you if you got a problem with it. Other series or other franchises will go out of their way to prep you for things like a character death or a shift in a characterization or something like that, especially if they're trying to continue on a lineage like Doctor Who always does. So there was no way, if they wanted to just have that big of a change, they've got to justify it thematically somehow. So, while it might be problematic and you might be able to write off a lot of that criticism as misogyny and you might be able to use that as a shield, I don't know that the show will actually do that. Will fans of the show? Absolutely, because that's what fans do. That's what people who get into these stupid fucking arguments on message boards and forums and shows like this inevitably end up doing, because that's the nature of fandom. But I think that we should. Yeah. But I think we should. I think we should just. My point is I think we should just let the show speak for itself. We've had one day of the casting so far. Like, of course, there's going to be a reaction to it, but I mean, let's let this shit speak for itself.
It's going to be a long 6 months before we actually see this person on screen.
And that's the thing is, like, this is like the part of this that I'm dreading is the whole Ghostbusters-like reaction backlash that is inevitably going to end up coming out of this.
A lot of people are going to lose friends over the next 6 months.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm going to be pre-ordering the Christmas episode because I'm a fan. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to be sad when Capaldi goes. But yeah, I'm not writing off the show out of hand just because of the new casting.
That's good. Nor should you. No,
absolutely not. But I do say I think that there might be some reservations. I think that might be legitimate, just because it might be. It's because it is so drastic. But coming in with cautious optimism, I guess, would be more appropriate how to explain that.
That's fair. Matt, thanks for calling Final Encountercast. Appreciate it. And if we're going to wrap it up on one point, I guess here's the thing that I would say to Doctor Who fans that really, really have a problem with this casting.
Jump off a bridge.
No, is
a
that
small one? With spikes at the bottom of it.
Here's what I would say to you, okay? If you have a real big problem with this casting, it's only temporary, right? Like, the Doctor's identity always changes, and I think, it's only a season or maybe 2 seasons that someone has inhabited it for the longest time?
It's going to be like a black trans girl. So.
1 to 3 seasons, generally.
Well, you know what? You know what? Just cross your fingers and really just hope for that white male power structure to kick in sometime in the next...
he comes back in a dog. Can they do that? Yeah, like Air Bud, but with the Doctor. Can Dr. Bud?
Actually,
can Star-Lord be
the lore
dogs?
Of Doctor Who, if he could come back as an animal rather than a person.
Air Bud was actually just a Time Lord. That's how that movie makes sense.
That's how all 15 of those movies make sense.
Right,
that's the only way. That's the only way that a dog can live that long. Right? Like any other golden retriever would have died from heartworms.
And do everything that he did. Because once they start to get old, that wasn't around a whole lot.
Like, that wasn't a young fucking dog in the first movie.
That's right.
Right? Like, when did the first Air Bud die? Someone needs to look this up.
Okay.
Chris, look this up right now. When did the first Air Bud die? I want to know how many different versions of Air Bud there have been.
Like the actor?
Yeah. I guarantee you. I guarantee
Do you think that dog has an IMDb
He
credit?
He died in 98.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That I'm surprised.
Thanks, Chris.
How many?
Thank you, Nika.
How many movies did he film before he died?
Let's see.
I wonder if that was a plot line.
Three.
It was through 3.
Yeah, there were 3.
And Full House.
Oh, really?
He was a special
he was the golden.
He was
did a
Comet.
He has a special appearance in Full House.
Buddy, that's his real name.
Okay.
He does have an
Bud.
IMDb
That makes sense. That makes sense.
What a stretch.
But in the
His name
next
is
2,
Buddy.
he played
Sure.
Fluke and Brandy. He didn't play the same dog in it.
He was in the 1990 hit film Piranha as Brandy.
Yeah, and he did a movie called Fluke as Fluke.
All right.
I bet he was a dog in that one too.
So, I mean, does the third Air Bud deal the plot line? Does it deal with Air Bud dying at all?
Hey, stop right there. Stop right there.
Like you have the confluence of Air Bud movies and the old Yeller movie at this. It just sort of
One of his puppies is like the new Air Bud. Takes
That's
on
right.
the mantle. There
That's
must
right.
always be a Bud.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm trying to look at sequels and spin-offs.
No, don't look it up because like any Lynchian film, we must leave it on a cliffhanger. They don't get to know.
That's fair.
Yeah, it says there was one.
No,
two,
hey, you
Shut
don't
up,
get to know.
Nika.
Nika, what are you doing?
It's got to be a cliffhanger.
What
no
are
one
you
will ever
doing?
know.
But I want to know.
Well, you can know. You, just
You
can't
can
say it
know,
out
yeah.
loud.
Go ahead and look it up. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
They
So
can't
just, but
know.
don't tell them. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to Final Encountercast today. Appreciate it. Stick around. Limit Break Radio is coming up next at 4 p.m.
The answer is 4 dogs.
here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. We're going to be talking about the producer live letter, and then also stick around. Following Limit Break Radio, we'll have the latest episode of Checkpoint Radio. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I am going to be out for the next 2 weeks, so I leave you in the capable hands of my crew. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you don't get a drop board. You have to figure out how to do the show without a drop board.
Dear God.
Yeah. It's an interesting problem, right?
Oh, no, I got it. I'll just play the drops into my microphone.
Oh, I'm sure Nika is going to love this. All right, guys, we're going to turn off some of the electronics and some of the lights in here, so it will hopefully cut down on some of the flickering. But thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. Again, stick around. Limit Break Radio is coming up next, and then following that, we've got the latest episode of Checkpoint Radio, which should wrap up just in time for you to go watch Game of Thrones and or Twin Peaks. I'm not going to judge which comes first. For me, it's Twin Peaks.
What about Checkpoint?
But but Checkpoint will just be getting wrapped up as those shows are going to start. So you guys stick around. We've got tons more of talk coming here to twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. One more thing that I want to. I know. I'm so sorry, guys. I know you're dying here.
One more team.
One more thing that I wanted to mention before we take off here. Again, we've got the San Diego Comic-Con giveaway. Make sure that you've liked Check PT Radio on Facebook and Twitter for more information about that. Again, thank you, Kooky, for that. And another thing that I wanted to announce is that fans of Checkpoint Radio that like watching this show live, you're going to be able to watch Checkpoint Radio live coming soon. Now, we've got the channel started. You can go and find it and follow it right now, Checkpoint Radio on Twitch, twitch.tv/Checkpoint Radio. Go ahead, give it a follow. But on Wednesdays, when we sit down and record the show, we're going to be doing some segments live and then maybe the entire show to the point where we're going to be taking calls. So that's going to be something exciting coming to Twitch TV as well as Facebook Live, YouTube, and possibly even what's the other
Mixer?
one? Mixer, yeah. Possibly even a Mixer as well. So we'll have some live options for that show coming soon, which will mean that we will have content, at least something happening, going on containing Limit Break Radio, Final Encountercast, or Checkpoint Radio 7 days a week. 7 days a week. We've got the news podcast that comes out. Okay, so if we want to go over the schedule, right? Monday, Final Encountercast podcast comes out. Tuesday, Limit Break Radio comes out. And on-demand episodes of Checkpoint Radio are posted over at checkpointradio.com. Wednesday, which is currently the blank spot, that's going to be eventually Checkpoint Radio Live, which you can watch over at twitch.tv/Checkpoint Radio. Part of that is getting these fucking lights figured out. And then on Thursday, you guys get the esports gaming update, which is updated through our podcast feed. On Friday, you get the gaming news headlines. On Saturday, you get the Checkpoint Radio podcast. And then on Sunday, we're live again here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. So depending on how you consume, yes, there is a little bit of overlap in content, but depending on how you consume, there is something going on 7 days a week from Limit Break Radio as a production company. So I think that that's a pretty exciting thing and something that I wanted to note. All right, we got to get out of here because it is literally boiling and we've got to be able to cool it down before Limit Break Radio starts. Stay tuned. Again, Limit Break Radio coming up at 4, probably a little bit more like 4:15 at this point, but coming up at 4 here on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. I want to thank my crew, Kooky Persona, of course, for her hard work with the San Diego Comic-Con promotion, as well as Skuro, who takes care of many of our YouTube videos. I want to thank my in-studio crew. Nika, even though she's not in studio, I'm going to count you as part of
close
the...
enough.
Yeah,
I'm
close enough. You're on camera. That's close enough. But Chris, Robbie, Callie, my name's Nate. Have a good one. Final Encountercast is a production of FinalEncountercast.com, Limit Break Radio, and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Nate Bender, Kooky Persona, and Callie Sloan. This show is made possible by the generous Patreon donors of the podcast Limit Break Radio. Opening music provided by Keyboard Kid. More info and music can be found at keyboardkid206.bandcamp.com. Closing music provided by Sobsy. For more info, visit sobsy.bandcamp.com. Final Encountercast and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.